days I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
welcome back, guys. I was just how's everybody tonight? I was just telling JR I was driving home from work, and guess who I saw? Darius and his chinchilla. I'm just kidding. I am totally kidding. I did not see Darius. He's probably up in Lansing. He's somewhere away from Detroit because we're going to beat him up if we see him. Allegedly. How are you, JR?
I'm all good, thank you. Working hard as usual. How
I
are you
know
doing?
it. I've been all right. I'm telling you, it is. I love you guys so much. I will never, ever, ever try to do this again, though. I'll never try to leave work. I thought I was a few minutes ahead, so I stopped at Okay, you heard of Church's Chicken, JR, maybe?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so I
I've
stopped at
tried it.
church. Yeah. Well, is it good over there? Because it's pretty good over here.
I had it in Jamaica, and it wasn't particularly good, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. I had that two-piece special. You know, the one with the jalapeno pepper and the honey biscuit, and it's usually good over here by me. So anyway, I stopped and I thought, okay, because I know JR's waiting for me. He says, Aubrey, we got to get this done. I got work to do. It's the weekday. We didn't do it on Sunday. You were sick. I'm so sick of you. No, he didn't say all that. But anyway, so I get in the line. I mean, it wasn't even a line. There was like I went, it was one car ahead of me, and then it moved, and then I gave my order, and I knew something was strange because it was like they put me on hold, and I'm like, there's not even a whole bunch of people inside or in the line. What do you put me on hold? So they put me on hold. Long story short, it was the longest two-piece wait to wait for a two-piece of Church's chicken, but it was very scrumptious, very scrumptious. Okay, but anyway, how's everybody? How's the weather? What's the weather like where you are? It's crazy out over here. It's crazy. But what's it like where
crazy
you
in
are?
crazy in a good way or bad way.
Bad way. So like first of all, on the way to work, it was like there were snow squalls. I think if they call them that there. It's like when you go through snow and it's like blinding, all of a sudden it starts falling and it's really, really thick and fast. And the wind was like 60 miles an hour. It's just it was a crazy day, really crazy day.
Mhm.
But
Wow,
what about you? What's the weather like where you are? Your part of the world.
freezing cold. But we have apparently we have snow coming in the next few days. Heavy snow. We've got some weather warnings already, but for now it's just quite cold and dry.
Okay. All right. What did you think of this episode this week?
This episode was so. It wasn't one of the best in my opinion, but we have quite a lot of talking points from it. No
Yes.
eliminations this week. I like to see eliminations, uh, but we didn't have one.
Why do you like? Wait a minute, hold up. Why do you like to see eliminations?
You're supposed to eliminate someone at the end of every episode, whittle it down, and
Right. Yeah, that's true.
get the numbers down. I don't like the double eliminations on one day and all these other different things.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, chat. Go ahead and hit that like button. Follow JR. JR is now, what is it? Reality is Life is where you are now on YouTube, and also your JRXTV over on Instagram, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, guys. So make sure to give him a follow and subscribe to his channel. Make sure you like this video. If you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Why aren't you subscribed? You've been here since what, November? We've been covering this show. We want you to follow us and get all the tea. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this week we start off. It's the Women's Week, right? So we start off in the lounge with uncle, cousin, nephew Tommy, and he's like letting the ladies know, hey, 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 last week we had the fellows introduce you to their exes. This week, ladies, I would like for you to introduce your guy, your connection to some of your best friends, because your best friends are the ones that are going to tell you what's really going on with you and this guy, and you want your best friend and your man to be able to get along. What did you think of that talk that Tommy had with the ladies, Jr?
Typical Tommy speech, really. You know, trying to hype up the episode. Um, but I think that I think that the ladies were actually looking forward to introducing their friends to their connections.
Yeah, I think
Because they
they
know
were.
that there's going to be a grilling, and you can see how some of these guys react under pressure, and and also more importantly, getting the feedback from people that know them the best, right?
Yes, 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 yes. That is so true. That is so true. It's also interesting to see at this point who really is saying that they actually have connections with each other. But it's very interesting that these last 2 weeks, there's always someone invited to meet up with the ex, like last week or this week, meet up with the besties. And we're kind of looking at them like, well, we never even saw you guys dating.
Yeah, but remember, a lot of the dates aren't being shown. You know, they're only editing and selecting things that they think would make good TV or filler.
Ah, yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. That is so true. And we're headed into what I consider the highlight every season of Ready to Love. After this week's episode, we're going to be headed to the getaway.
Mhm.
Yep. So anyway, so we started off the evening with Ashanti. Ashanti had her best friends meet her guys, and it was like an interesting day. So instead of just going to a restaurant, she actually had the fellows meet up where they could do a painting of her, right?
Mhm.
You had Bello, you had Steven, and you had Cardi, which was interesting because last week when Ashante and Cardi had, when she met Day, his ex, uh, she felt like Day went a little bit hard on her, and Cardi didn't really do much uh, to interrupt that or to change that mood. What did you think about it this week when she talked about what it's like when they get into a disagreement?
Uh, well, the disagreement came
Oh,
between,
go ahead.
it wasn't actually Cardi that was in the disagreement. She's
Mm,
more bad that he didn't defend her.
correct, correct. That. Thank you for the correction. I think the way she posed it was when her friend asked her what was he like, and she said, "Well, I guess apparently they must have had it offline. We didn't see it, but she said that they did talk afterwards about how his ex Day grilled her, and that she felt like he should have done more to protect her."
Yeah, which I don't know if that's actually I don't know if that's actually good advice. Yeah, again, it was between two ladies,
Well, wait a
and
minute. Well, wait a minute. Wait, wait, wait. So you mean to tell me that if this was reversed around and you were in, let's say, Cardi's shoes, and you were on the show, and you mean
Mhm.
to tell me that if you brought your ex, you would allow your ex to be so invasive to this new potential connection that you have?
I think the whole point is there isn't really a connection there. That's what made Day jump on what Ashante was saying. She sees Cardi as her homie or her dog or
Her
whatever
dog,
she called
yeah.
him.
That's
Yeah,
what
that's
she.
not a romantic connection. So
Oh,
the
okay.
ex is coming out trying to see who is a good romantic fit for
Ah,
Cardi, not who's going to be his best friend.
because she's already holding down that position probably at this point.
Right. Yeah. It's not ready to find a buddy. It's
Hmm.
ready to love, right? And basically, I think the reason why Dominique and Shannon got a pass is because they seem to give more. Their answers seem to give more of an impression that they're interested in getting to know Cardi romantically, whereas Ashanti was outright saying, this is my dog, this is my friend, this is my homie. We talk, and but there's no romantic spark there at all, and that's why she went into not even the other areas of chemistry, like the smacks and the other things like that,
Hmm.
and it got pretty defensive and pretty heated. So yeah, I just think Ashanti was a bit mad because she got called out. She'd been very casual with Cardi, and there isn't really a romantic connection there. And she admitted that herself. She just didn't like being called out for it.
Ah, okay. Well, you know what? You do have a point because you're right. She did say he's my dog and all the kind of things that kind of indicate you're not really connecting romantically. You're right about that. And so these are Ashante's friends, and you can see the serious looks on their face. They were grilling all of the guys. Um,
Mhm.
so when it came to Stephen, this is what he came up with. That said it looks like Ashante. And if the only thing you could see that looks like Ashante on that particular day was the bra that he has, or the corset that he has, that looked a little bit like Ashante's actual corset that she wore that day on the date.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I thought Steven needs to go to Specsavers because if that's what he thinks Ashanti looks, them glasses need replacing.
oh, you need to replace his sexy specs.
Good boy.
Yeah, he could have done a little bit better
Mhm.
overall. That's funny. Yeah, yeah, but they did okay. This group, they did okay with the conversation. They were kind of lighthearted. It didn't get too serious. Uh, moving forward, we've got our girl Shannon. Doesn't she look pretty here? She is.
Yes, she does.
She's a
But
gorgeous. Huh? What were you gonna say?
wait, but you went past the other two dudes that were on that date. It wasn't
Uh,
just
well, here's Steven and Cardi, and you're talking about Oh, I'm sorry, Bello.
Bello as well. Exactly.
Yes. Oh, let's talk
So
about Bello. Go ahead.
right, so one of the friends is Muslim as well, isn't she? Is that the one?
Yes, yes, she was. Yes, she
Right.
was. Correct.
So although all three guys made a good impression,
Hmm.
um, she asked about Bello's faith, and he was
Yes.
like, "Nah, she wouldn't need to convert. She'll be able to do her thing, whatever she wants to do. He'll support it." But
Okay.
then, as soon as the guys left the room and the ladies were asked for their verdict, she said, "No, Bello would expect you to change. Don't believe that BS." So they actually didn't like. I think they picked Cardi, Steven, and then Bello last, both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually, yeah, you're right. I think Steven was top, I think, for both of them, but Cardi, the one young lady said that Cardi was boring.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't think Cardi's boring. You think Cardi's boring?
Yeah, I think he's coming across as quite boring.
Ah, oh,
Very
okay.
laid back, very reserved.
Well,
There is,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
but yeah, just no, he doesn't really have a sense of humor that strikes you.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a good point. Because I was gonna say, but if you're gonna say he's boring, what are you gonna say about Steven? We haven't seen much of Steven's sense of humor, well, except for that drawing, anyway.
No, but he's
That
his
drawing was funny.
answers and his personality at least is a bit more intriguing, and he does have one-liners. I don't know if, like, obviously I sent you the video of the date between him and Lauren, but
Yes.
yeah,
Talk
yeah.
go
Steven's not boring. I think Steven is just very.
reserved.
I think he's just just a normal guy.
Ah, okay.
I
So we
think
don't.
Cardi's reserved, and I think Steven is just a pretty normal guy. Nothing flashy, nothing flamboyant. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's boring.
Well, El Cid says Cardi experiences blah. That's funny. Hey, El Cid. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to Shannon clutching her pearls. Hey, El Cid, right? And we find out that apparently besties with Shannon is no other than from a couple of seasons ago, Mercedes.
Hmm.
Mercedes, yeah. And I believe Mercedes was out of the one of the Miami seasons, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Miami with the guy he was French. He spoke
They
French to
showed they
me when
showed
we
they
interviewed.
showed the clip of her with Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony, yes, yes, yes. Yes, that Mark Anthony. Hey, shout out to Mark Anthony. What a fella. Okay, so anyway, so Mercedes came back and she was letting her know that hey, I'm gonna ask the questions and I might dig a little deep, but I want to find out who's really for you. And so we see on that date, we've got Darius, we've got Stephen again, and we've added Devon. So three fellas that are very interesting. And of course, on that date, Darius had all the right answers. Well, why do you think that is, JR? Why does he always have all the right answers when they asked him about marriage and if he wants to be married again? He was the only guy that seemed kind of like emphatic about responding with a yes.
Yeah, Darius knows how to exude some confidence and to basically tell the ladies what they want to hear. Like he's very well versed in these type of conversations. It seems, with a couple of baby mothers out there and other things he's got going on. I'm not surprised he's experienced. Whereas someone like Devon, he kind of seems to sweat or stammer a little bit under pressure. Don't seem
He,
as confident.
no, yeah, he does. He does stammer. I figure I kind of wonder though, is Devon not feeling as confident because he's trying to act like he's believing that Dominique may actually pick him. Like he's gunning for
Well,
Dominique. He likes all these different women. Remember, we go back to the second uh mixer where the people are down the bottom and he put on his jacket and all of a sudden everybody was flirting with him and he got kind of like this overinflated confidence, it seems like, and
right.
now he's kind of the confidence levels kind of dropped back down.
Yeah, it has. But the thing is, Dominique is nowhere to be seen on this particular date. And I would have thought that the
Hmm.
connection he had with Shannon, that looked fairly
Hmm.
good. It looked like that could actually work. That looked like
Yes.
there was a bit more chemistry there. So I would have thought Devon would have been in his element here trying to impress Shannon. But yeah, he didn't. I don't think he rose to the occasion on this time. Why? Because uh, all the guys were asked about where they see Shannon in terms of being a connection, and they all kind of said top one, no, sorry, top two, top three,
Right.
and Devon really shot himself in the foot by saying he's got like four connections left.
Yeah.
And
What's up with
yeah,
that?
exactly. So I think there's an element of him being gassed up still from the compliments he received from the second mixer, like you said, that momentum that he got, feeling himself a little bit, and probably thinks there's more of a connection than there actually is with some of the ladies. But I think him and Shannon definitely hit it off, and he dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, he did. He did. When asked about marriage, Darius said that, he is looking forward to marriage. He says that he believes in pouring into his woman. He has a lot to pour in, but he needs to find the exact right specifications, characteristics in his woman, and that she must pour into him. And I started seeing dollar signs when I saw that. I said, "Whoa, okay, Darius. We heard some things about you." So little concerned when Darius starts talking like that. I kind of hope that the ladies aren't misled by Darius, I guess is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So
Darius is a ladies' man, and we
he's
know this.
yeah, he's a ladies' man. He's
Right.
also very I think he's very good at knowing what to say and who to say it to, right?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Darius is a ladies' man. He
Ladies
knows
man.
how to talk to ladies, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's why he stands out. He's very confident. He's brash. He wears
Hmm.
his furs. He has a distinctive style. He has a
Style. Yep.
USP, unique selling point. Um, got that Beijing every day, freshly sprayed, freshly
Freshly
painted.
sprayed.
Yeah. So like one of the things you can do in this situation is look at the three guys and look at their demeanor and look at how enthusiastic they are about talking to the friends or getting to know Shannon. And
Hmm.
just from this picture, you can see that Darius is, fully engaged. Stephen is also very observant. And what is Devon doing? Devon looking at the table, you know.
Yeah, that actually is a good. That's kind of a very symbolic photo or clip of them because you're right. It seems like Devon is very distracted and maybe not looking as confident as he was back at that mixer, that second mixer that he went to, and
Nowhere near, nowhere near,
nowhere
nowhere
near
near.
that.
But remember, he wasn't confident with with Shannon. That just seemed like a natural conversation that led to a little spark. The
Yeah,
actual confidence came from Dominique and
Dominique.
how she
Yes.
boosted his confidence like that. So, but like I said, that's that's a separate date. On this particular date, his attention should have been on Shannon and trying to establish a connection with her because that would have been more of a genuine connection, I think. Dominique is
Right.
already sold on Bello. Like she's definitely more interested in Bello than any of the other guys on here.
Any of them, any of them. And
Right.
you're right. So we got to talk about this also. It's funny because that you're saying that because at the end of it, let me see if I can get back to where was it at? One sec. Um, Mercedes was telling her girl Shannon. She said, "Listen, all these guys," she says, they seem to have potential. She said, "But as far as for you to pick one of them, I would not pick any of them because they're all just saying the same thing that you're in their top three, and with Devon the top four. So I mean, how he got to 66% of the six ladies that are left, 4 out of 6." I don't even understand. We're getting ready to go to the getaway, and I never can understand every season why people are still picking up connections as we get close enough. Here we are in episode 8, and next week we're going to have the getaway where they're all going to be staying in the house together. You're going to find out who's doing what's going on.
Yeah, of course. And that's what the retreat's for. Put everybody in a confined space and you can actually see who's connected with who and who's going to be sharing a room and things like that. And so you definitely know where you stand. But I think this was bad advice from Mercedes. Um,
Really?
it's too early to be talking about you're my number one and things like that. We haven't seen any of the contestants on this show so far say you're my number one and we are moving on in this process together. No one's done that because everybody still has options. And that's why every single lady was able to bring three guys to meet the friends because they are options. They all have two or three options, every single lady on here. So to be asking to be chosen as the number one, that's not really realistic at this point because everybody's still in the process.
Well, yeah, but don't you think that the guys, even old slick Darius, don't you think the guys could have said something like, besides saying you were in my top three, you are one of the ones that I really, want to continue my connection with, or something a little bit more, I don't know, more to the heart. Like sometimes you can say words and not just trying to be misleading, but to let them know that you still have a connection or why you even like them. Let's say this, for example, why the man even likes this woman. When they're talking to the friends, it's very generic, the things that they're saying. Oh, she's pretty, she is smart, she is kind, like in the movie. But what do you really like about this person? What's different about Shannon then that's different about Dominique. That's something that you connect with. And for Devon and Shannon, they seem to connect because they're both kind of geeky, right? I see them as
Yeah,
both being kind of geeky, a little
right.
bit on the quiet and reserved side. They're both professionals, whereas Dominique, not saying she's not a professional, she's a professional celebrity stylist, but Dominique, I think, is more along with Bello, they're more artistic, right? They're more creative. They're what we would call creatives, right? Hold on one
Mm.
second. Alexa, stop. Okay. Alexa's trying to join in on our party.
Mhm.
But I
So
mean, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, so I get what you're saying, but all three of these guys have stronger connections elsewhere. So that's why they're good. She's going to be in their top two or three. Devon,
Where's
Devon,
Devon's stronger connection? I can see the other two guys, but where's Devon's stronger
Devon,
connection?
Devon thinks he has a connection with Dominique that's stronger than Shannon, right?
Ah,
And then Stephen, he has connections with Ashante and Lauren, as well
yes.
as Shannon. And
Yeah.
then Darius, as we know, he likes Ashley
Ashley.
and he likes Ashanti as well as Shannon. So
Uh,
again, they were truthful, in my opinion. They said,
yeah.
I still have two or three connections. They're not saying that she's, that nobody likes her. But like I said, it's still too early to say this is my number one. Imagine if Darius, who
Hmm.
had bought furs last episode for Ashley, and then he comes and says that Shannon is his number one. Everybody would jump on him because they're like, wait a minute, why are you buying furs for Ashley if Shannon's your number one?
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
You're right about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not wanting him to say anything at all about, because I feel like anything coming out of his mouth is going to be a little slick and a little disingenuous. But I'm talking about these other two guys. I mean, I just didn't feel like,
Yeah.
particularly Devon. Devon was worst of all. He didn't say top three. He said top four, and there's only six people. What?
Yeah, no. Like I said, he's got this no, wouldn't say imaginary, because I think
Hmm.
Dominique is using him she playing him to stay in the game just to get the numbers.
Right.
She can,
I
right,
think
she
so
just drop
too.
him a little crumbs and it boosts him up thinking that he has a chance. So
Hmm.
you know, so I do think, he could have been a bit more firm. Out of all the three guys, he could have said, you know what, Shannon, I have two connections and you are one of them. And that would have been fair.
Yeah.
But to say four, I don't think two of those, at least, I'd struggle to think who the other, who all four ladies are at this moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what four he was referring to, but
Nor do I. But
yeah.
if one of them is Dominique, then
Well,
nah.
we know. Well, we can imagine. I will say this: I'd be willing to bet money, and we can imagine that at least one of them is Dominique, right?
Right. And we also know because at the end of, later on in this episode, he does say, I feel a way about Cardi sitting next to my girl when he's on the Dominique date. Like he
Yes,
does say that. So he obviously feels like that he has a real shot with Dominique.
he
But like,
does. He does
but
miraculously seem to feel that way.
right, but no, I think he really missed out on Shannon. Shannon, it would be more his speed, uh,
Yes,
more compatible, I think.
more compatible. I
Yeah,
agree. And could you say privacy for me, please?
privacy.
Anyway. A little running joke, guys, in case you haven't been here. You're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and like the video. So anyway, the next date we have is beautiful Lauren. And it's so funny because Lauren is my daughter's name, and I'm looking at this picture of her, and it reminds me of a picture that I have of my daughter. So she's so pretty, she's so cute. We haven't seen a lot of Lauren, it feels like, right? What do you think? Do we know a lot about Lauren? We know she's in entertainment. Um, what else do we know about Lauren? We know that she's tall, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what she's hung her hat on, right? The fact that she's tall, she's obviously very attractive. She has three very big or tall children, um, and what else do we know about her? We know that she hasn't been in a relationship for a while. So um, I don't think we've seen a lot of her, but I do think she's been on dates. I did send the exclusive video to you where she's on a date with Steven. But maybe they're just trying to, maybe there's only so much dates that they can put into the show, or there's dates that have been gone by the wayside because they haven't been as exciting for TV or whatever. I
Mm.
think the date with Steven that they showed could have easily made the cut.
Yes, I was just about to say that, and thank you for sending me that clip over on Instagram. I was just thinking that that should have been shown to us because
Yeah,
that was a pretty steamy day, guys. If you haven't seen it, go over to on YouTube and check out the clip. Type in Lauren and Steven, I think, and you'll come up with the clip. You should be able to come up with it. But it was anyway, it was quite steamy, and
definitely on her part. It's
on her part.
very forward, and very direct
Very direct,
about
yeah.
about uh, uh, bedroom
It
activities and things like that.
into intimacy, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And I guess maybe she felt more comfortable because this date, unlike many of that we see on the air, that they do show are group dates, right? So this was her and Steven were one-on-one on this particular date.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
they were. So and let's see, these are the friends. We get into it, a little bit of a conversation about children, and Stephen is saying, the friends are asking, well, hey, do you have any kids? And we know you're a teacher, and by the way, that's an awesome job. Those kids. One of the girlfriends said, I was a substitute teacher for a year, and those kids like to drove me crazy. And I was like, yeah, I can imagine, right?
Mhm.
But anyway, they were asking, they said, well, Stephen, do you have any children of your own? He said, no, just my nieces and nephews who I like to spend a lot of time. I'm very family oriented. Do you want kids, Stephen? And he said, yes, I do. He said, and then he looked at Lauren and he said, but she says she's going to give me a girl. And they said, a
Mm,
girl. They said, well, she has two sons. What if it's another boy? Would three boys work? He said, oh yeah, that will work. That will work just fine. And he
mhm.
said he's okay with just having one child. He doesn't have to have two or three. He can have just one child, and that would be good with him. But whatever God blessed him with.
Yeah. Problem with that though is Lauren looked around like, huh? Did I say that?
Well, she did, but I wasn't sure if she was playing us or playing him, or they were having like a little inside joke. Because I don't know. What did
It,
you think? What did
it
you make of
wasn't. It wasn't an inside joke anymore. Once he aired it, now it's an outside joke.
it?
But
Okay.
um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just something said in conversation, and he latched onto it. Like, yes, okay. At least she's open to having more children, even though she's got three already.
Right.
Um, but again, I don't see the compatibility between Stephen and Lauren too, in terms of where they are in terms of stages in life, but they
Okay.
do kind of look like they have some chemistry.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they do. I think I'm wondering if maybe the connection for them is that he is maybe some parts of him are opposite. I'm thinking that Steven, you and I talked about this earlier off air, offline. He is not as reserved. It's just that he's like, what did you call him? An everyday guy, a regular
Yeah,
guy?
just a normal regular guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And maybe that's what the attraction is for Lauren, because sometimes when you're in entertainment, you're in these flashy professions. It could be entertainment, celebrity, stylist, whatever, and you're around all these influential people, popular people, celebrity type people. People consider you to be a local celebrity. Sometimes it's nice to just be around with someone that sees you for who you are, and you can just be with them and just feel regular yourself, if that makes sense, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
um yeah, years ago when I first started modeling and doing commercials and traveling doing the auto show, I met this guy, and he would ask me things like, well, what do? I know you do all this modeling, you do all this traveling, blah 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 blah. And he says, "Well, I'm gonna come by." He had my address at that time, my home address, and he said, "I'm gonna come by and see," because he didn't believe me when he called me. I said, "Well, I'm sitting outside. It was a nice summer day." I said, "And I'm reading a book, and whatever the book was, I don't recall." And he drives by, and sure enough, I'm sitting there in my big, thick goggle glasses reading the book, and he's like, "But I just saw you in Jet magazine, and you were here, and you were doing this, and I can't believe you're just like a regular person." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just a regular person." And I think for me, I'm looking at that as Lauren kind of like relating to him and not having the guy, because you also meet guys that will put you up on a pedestal. They'll make you feel weird because they make you feel like, you've got to be on your P's and Q's all the time, if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think that's what she probably wants. She's a mother. She's got three kids, like you said. I thought it was two, but you're saying three. But in any case, she's a mom, and she just wants to feel like a woman. That's it. You just want to feel like a woman.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, but to where she is and how old her children are, it seems like we kind of got a little bit of a mismatch this season with people that are possibly compatible, but because some of them already have grown kids, teenage kids, and then now somebody's coming along that has no children, and you want to start all over again from the diaper stage. How do you feel?
Exactly.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that works?
No, it's not gonna work all the time, but it depends. How old the children are and what the there may be some residual trauma from giving birth as well, complications and things like that that may make one of the ladies be like, "No, she don't want to go through all of that again." And then also, the relationship didn't work after having the child with who they had the kid with. Then,
Hmm.
well, they want to repeat that. So I think right now it's better to just keep it surface and just have, is there a possibility that you'd be open to having more children
Oh,
rather
okay.
than,
Yeah.
trying to, well, she promised me she'll give me a daughter. Nah, that
Hmm. Yeah.
you thought too much. You ain't even chosen her as your top connection yet.
Right. That's true. That is so true.
And you're sitting there with two other dudes, so she ain't even chosen you as your top connection either.
Right, or else that would have been a date with just her and her friends and just him alone. Okay,
Exactly.
Sid, drop down in the chat and tell me what you mean about Steven is a player. He showed it this episode. What did he do this episode? I must have went and got a refreshing beverage at that point because
Yeah, I must
you know,
have blinked and missed that because
yeah. Did you
as far
catch
as
anything this episode about Steven being a player? Some sign?
no, I didn't personally, but
Yeah.
Elsid is the detective. She's got
Yeah, we're talking about you offline, Elsie. You're like a juggler, man. You got about 30 shows going on over on your channel, and you know everybody by name. You know their horoscope and their date of birth and how tall they are.
exactly, but uh, yeah. So I think it's a tricky one because if you have two or three connections, then obviously as a guy, then you can easily be labeled a player because you have three or four connections or whatever.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily work the same when the ladies have three guys. It's mainly how the guys are moving that name gets thrown out there. But look, Darius is a player, um, for sure.
Well, well, yeah, I was gonna say he's maybe a lot more than a player, but yes, for
Right,
sure a player.
right. And
What was it
then
you called him? A ladies' man?
ladies man, exactly. Bello, you could say he's a player too because he's clearly locked in on Dominique, but he's still fishing around with these other girls too. So you're giving them hope. So yeah, like you could argue that all of these guys are players really because they got more than two or three connections.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, okay, I'm trying to get this out. Okay, so moving forward, we left off. We were talking. Oh, okay. So I think somehow or another, what is her name? Ashley.
Mhm.
Somehow or another, I left out. I lost or dropped my clips out of Ashley. So, do you want to go ahead and kind of lead us into Ashley? We're going to do that without clips. So I'll go back to the
No, because we haven't touched on
what?
uh,
Listen.
Mr. Phil. Sorry, Mr. Vincent, Mr. Vince, and his interaction with Lauren's friends on this date.
Oh, the tall thing. Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for taking me back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Okay.
can't, we cannot have this date and not mention that, because that was the most contentious part of the show.
Okay, so I do not have a clip of Vince, but let's go into it. Vince, you guys all know Vince. I think I knew Vince is like probably one of the few people's name I knew from like the first or second week because he kind of stands out to me. He reminds me of a guy that I used to work with years ago. But anyway, Vince says he's 6'2". So they're sitting talking and they're having this conversation and they're asking Vince, well, is that like, a real 6'2", or is that, like, does your doctor say you're 6'2"? What does your doctor say? And he's telling them, and he gets a little bit perturbed. And he's like, well, I don't understand what the issue is with my height. I'm this height. She's tall. I'm tall. What did you make of that, JR?
I thought it was a whole bunch of nothing. What a wasteful conversation. So Vince clearly has been around Lauren a few times. They've been in this show for a few weeks now. I think when he came in and the first question was about his height, he clearly answered he's 6'2". That's what his answer was. He's 6'2".
Right.
So any need to elaborate on what kind of 6'2" that is,
Yeah.
pointless. 6'2" is 6'2". Then, so when he's trying to be like, well, I don't know where we're going with this because, if I was 5'11", would that make a big difference to how you view me type thing?
Yeah. That's what it felt like.
Right.
Right. Five
And
eleven,
so,
six
so
feet,
what are you
six
trying to
two.
do? Judge him because you feel like he's less than 6 foot? So does that make him less of a man, or what are you trying to insinuate with that line of questioning? So they tried to make it seem like, oh, well, you didn't answer the question. Now he did. As soon as you asked the question, his first answer was, "I'm 6'2". So he answered the question the first time. Anything else after that was just doing too much. I thought her friends did too much, and just like with Cardi and Day last week, Lauren just sat back and watched the carnage because I think she wanted to see how Vince reacts under pressure. She may have told her friends about his use of the B word. She may have told her friends that he's very combative and likes to debate.
He does. He does.
So when they were trying to prod him and, trying to get a reaction from him, he didn't really rise to it. He did actually say, listen, I'm not sure where we're going with this. Like, what are you trying to say that because she's tall, um, like I'm not eligible? What are you trying to say? And they were like, no, we're
Right.
trying to just find out how tall you are.
Right. Right.
Well, he's
Right. What?
tall enough. He's
He's
over
telling.
6 foot. He,
Yeah.
if she wears 2 inch heels, 4 inch heels, platform shoes, stilettos, that's just footwear.
Wedges,
Yeah,
mules. You
who
throw them
cares?
all in there.
Who cares? You're both the same height when you're laying down anyway. Who cares?
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, to your point, and I have to agree with you on this. To your point, it's not like, even if, like you said, if he was only 5'11", okay, and something happened and maybe a vertebrae shrunk or something, I don't know, a disc, and he just got shorter. But it's not like the guy is 5'2" or 5'1". Like, what? He's up there with you in the clouds. He's a tall person. You're a tall person. When you're a tall person, especially a woman, I think if you get to 6 feet, like, Michelle Obama did really good to meet Barack, okay? But if you're a 6 foot woman, you're maybe not gonna find a guy that has everything, the 3 6s, the 6 feet, the six figures, and the 6 inches, ladies. Although I don't know if that's, but anyway, you're maybe not gonna find somebody that's 6'5" or 6'8". You're maybe not gonna find that. Maybe you'll find a guy that's nice that's 5'11". Is that gonna deter you from having a connection and seeing if there's something there, if there's more there? I don't
Yeah,
understand it. And then you little ladies out there that are 5'2" and 5'1", always seeking our 6 foot tall men. Come on, ladies, get yourself a 5'5" or a 5'6", okay? Let the taller ladies deal with the 6 foot men, okay? But anyway,
yeah,
just a thought, just a thought.
yeah.
Just
Well, there's already a shortage of the men that fit that 6 foot, six figure criteria, right? So, if Vince, like I said, to me he looks like he's tall enough. If he says he's 6'2", I would just run with okay. He would know his height. He's 6'2". If like I said, if Lauren is 6 foot, 6'2" herself, then that makes them the same height. If she wants someone taller, then she needs to stop wearing them heels because she's gonna tower over, I think, almost everybody on this cast.
Well, here's the thing,
Who's
Lauren.
taller? Who
Go ahead.
who do we see who's like 6'4", 6'6" on this particular show?
Here's the thing I just thought about. So she's in entertainment, right? She does interviews, she does real estate. If she really wants a man that's going to be super tall, look toward the NBA.
Right.
Seriously, look toward
Yeah,
the NBA because you got a
exactly.
lot of 6 foot, 5, 7, 8, 9, 7 foot men in the NBA. But
Right.
other than that, in real life, eh, okay.
Right. They definitely gonna have big salary, 6 figure
Hmm.
salary. They're gonna
Hmm.
be over 6 foot,
And we don't, we
majority of
can't,
them.
we can't, and we can't qualify about the 6 inches, ladies. We just can't. That's not
No,
our.
but six
That's
pack.
not.
Some of
That's
them
not.
have a six pack.
Oh, there you go. A 6 pack. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. NBA for sure.
Right.
Active duty.
So Dominique, she was married to a former NBA player called Vishal Leonard, who used to play for
Okay.
Miami Heat and Denver Nuggets and a few other teams.
Oh,
So
okay. You know about them because I was going to say I do not. I do not
right.
know who it
So
is.
they're out there. But again, she's Lauren's on this show, and you're not gonna find any NBA ballers on this show. So from the category of guys that have been selected,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, none of them like they're
Mm-hmm.
6'6", 6'8", 6'10". Six
Mm-hmm.
two is pretty much
That's
in the
how
realm of that should be acceptable.
that should be acceptable. We're thinking,
Right.
Lauren. Those are our opinions. We feel like that should be acceptable. But what I was going to say though, Lauren, dear Lauren, think about it and consider this. If you're in entertainment and I see you on the air, it's so funny that you ended up on the show because I see you and I've been following you before, long before this show. You appeared on this show. But listen, why don't you go over and look at maybe auditioning for the NBA, like a commentator or something of that nature, because you're very good at what you do. I think you're very professional, very poised, very beautiful, very articulate. So if you went over to the NBA, I'm sure there's someone over there that is over 6'2". I'm positive. I'm absolutely positive. Aren't you positive, Jr.?
Yeah, or even the lower leagues, D1, or the
What's
other
the
league,
what's the league that does the Ice Cube has? The
the
three
big
with
three, the
the
big
big
three.
three. Yeah,
They're
the big
they're all
three.
retired NBA players that
Oh,
play
they're
there in
retired.
a
They may be
three
a
on
little
three tournament.
okay, but yeah, well, so but I mean, they're out there. They're out there for sure. You got
Yeah, they're still tall enough. You got some big 7 foot guys playing in that. So,
there. You go.
but again, um, and I just saw it in the comments too. Height does not equal character. It doesn't mean that that guy's going to protect you any more, any less than a shorter guy. It doesn't
That's
mean he's
right.
going to love you any more or love you any less than a shorter guy. It doesn't mean nothing. It's just visual. It's okay to have your preference if that's what you
Yeah.
like, a
Right.
taller dude.
Right.
But if you can't find the taller dude that you like, then what are you going to do? Self eliminate because the guy is not 6'4", he's only 6'2".
What
It's
is
very
it?
silly.
I got two questions for you. Okay, so women like height, and they focus a lot. A lot of times, we women, especially when we're younger, we focus a lot on dating the height of a man, right? What is
Right.
the equivalent, the physical equivalent that a lot of men look for, you feel like, in women? What is that physical?
I don't
Some
know, because a big butt and a smile can go a long way. Um,
okay. Yeah, okay. And these days, yeah, and for a long time, the glutamus maximus, I guess it's called, maybe, is something that a lot of, especially African American men, look for. A nice
but
rear
and
end.
then you have the girls who are busty, and
Busty. Yeah.
so there are some guys that prefer busty girls.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but again, it's just, I don't think there's an automatic elimination, because
Miss Wilson. I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't think there's an automatic elimination based on your weight or your assets, in the same way that men get dismissed for not being tall enough. There isn't an equivalent to that.
Well, okay, that might be where it comes into the face. I think that's where it comes into a facial beauty. I feel like men, they want maybe curves and they want maybe a big bottom sometimes, and some men want, like you said, the bust and maybe both. But if the face is not facing, mm-mm.
Yeah,
I
but that's
feel like,
that. Yeah, but
yeah.
that's not equivalent to height. I mean, if a guy has if a guy isn't handsome,
Mhm.
girls ain't gonna want him either. You know, if
I
you got,
feel like women don't care as much about men's.
they sure do.
Nah. Well, I guess
They
you're
sure
right.
do.
Probably the younger ones do, but women are looking at a lot of other things. There are a lot of guys, like you said, getting back to the NBA. If you're tall enough, you're earning those six figures. Women will say, "Okay, he's average, but hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Well,
He's got a check coming in, and he takes good care of me. He takes me out to the places I like to go to. Yeah, yeah."
yeah, I don't know about that. If he ain't
What do you guys
handsome,
think? Give us your opinion. What do you think? Is it just me, or do women look for height? What do men? What is the physical thing that you feel like a lot of men are out there looking for, that
is
um
equivalent to height
that is
for women.
equivalent to height for women? Yeah, guys, drop down and let me know what you're saying. Let me see, catch some of these comments. Now, Miss Wilson got me cracking up over here. She said, now at Lauren's age, she should be looking at at a coach. That's a possibility. That's a good point. I
Yeah,
mean, well, you got NBA players playing up until they're 40, 38, 39, 40. Isn't she like 36 or 37,
I
Lauren?
don't know. But coaching, there's a lot of former players that are coaches as well.
I
So
right. That's
they're
why.
cool.
Right. I figure that's why she said that. Let's see what else is going on here. Um, she said on her YouTube channel that she had. I'm sure. I know if I have, I'm sure she has. Yeah, I'm sure she has. El Cid says thanks. Oh yeah. Okay, but what does El Cid say? NBA players also have options without kids. Ooh,
Hmm.
El Cid,
Absolutely.
you cutting to the
Tons,
chase today, aren't you?
tons of them. They got tons of groupies, tons of fans, tons of IG models. They got a plethora of options. So, you know, would they automatically want to date, a single mother of three, when they have
Well,
so many other options as well?
yeah, I guess you got a point. I don't know. I'm out of the game now at this point. But when I dated, more most shorter dudes loved big enough to make up for height. Oh, I like that. We need to make that, shorten it down just a tiny bit. Shorter dudes love big enough to make up for their height. I like that. Oh, wait a minute, Elsie. She answered the question. This is what she feels like, what we had said earlier, Jr.
Mm.
The bum and the boobs. Okay.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There are plenty of ladies who got pancake back there and they still get guys.
Uh,
Uh, but
now, now, Jaguar actually has something. She's saying it goes back to, okay, now this is a good point. When we were young, when we were growing up as girls, and even the little books we used to read, it was always a tall, dark, and that's notice the first word, tall, dark, and handsome. Women look for tall men. Conversely, men look for shorter women. Would
that
you
is
agree
true.
with that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is traditionally how it's been framed. Yeah, of course. But in this case, you have a tall woman and she's looking for an even taller guy.
Mm. Oh, now see, this is where personal experience or having witnessed something, some love in your family. El Cid is telling us that her grandfather, who was 5'1", and her grandmother, who was 5'9", were a true love story till the end of his life. Her second husband was short too, but I'm the outlier. Isn't that something?
Right.
Elsie, you're I think you told me you're like what, like 5'9" or 5'10"? So
Mm.
Elcida's got good height on her too. She's got a really tall height on her for a girl.
Right, but clearly the dating standards have changed. Like you're not going to see too much 5 men guys pulling 5'9" women these days. You know, the
Mm.
criteria is to be 6 foot and above in a lot of cases, and it's very superficial. So they may be blocking their own blessings and self sabotaging by keeping that up. 6'2" should be good enough. So if you have a problem with a guy who's 6'2", if you have a problem with his height, then I don't even know what you're smoking.
Elsie says again, men look for the booty, the boobies, and no kids. So I guess that would include the NBA ball players we were just talking about. Men look for what appeals to them, whether it's T or A. Okay, you know what that is. Um, Good point. Good point. Now, to Mona's, Mrs. Wilson's point, most NBA players are married at 30 and beyond. Um, yes, yes. I think now though, I'm gonna throw this one out here now. I think you and I are about in the same age range, Miss Wilson, and so we're mature seasoned women. But I think that, like, let's say a current ball player now that's 25, 30 may not be married. Now, speaking of which, who is it? This guy that is it Clay Thompson is dating
Megan Stallion.
Megan Stallion. Yeah. Okay. So how old exactly is he, and how old is she? Do you know? Because I don't really keep up with these people like that, but I
He's
just know
older than her.
he's older than her.
Yeah,
Okay. So what is he, like 30? What? Let's say 33, maybe.
I'd say close to 35, somewhere on there.
Oh, okay, okay. He seems like he's kind of trying to get kind of serious with that young lady. I see them everywhere now, always holding hands. He's very classy. She was apparently spent the Christmas with Clay Thompson's family. We're talking about Meg the Stallion, in case you didn't know. And
Well,
she also looks like she's pretty tall too. Again, I don't know a lot about.
yeah,
Yeah,
but she also was with Tory Lanez, and he's only 5'3". She's 6 foot plus, and Tory Lanez
she.
is 5'3".
Wait a minute, Meg the Stallion is actually she's over 6 feet.
Shit about that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because that's what I said. When I saw her standing next to Clay, who I know is tall, I was like, well, wow, she's a
Yeah,
tall lady. I didn't realize she was that tall.
Clay Thompson's got to be about 6'5", 6'6",
He
6'5", somewhere around there.
is absolutely gorgeous. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Do your thing. Mm-mm-mm.
But
Oh,
like I said, 5'3", and she's 6 foot. That's a crazy gap. So I'm not even sure how that even transpired. But anywho,
anywho, yeah,
let's
let's
continue.
move along. Okay, so what I was asking for us to do is if you would lead us this particular juncture with the Ashley dates, because I do not unfortunately have them the clips of those in here.
Mm. From what can I remember about Ashley's date? Was there anything significant?
Oh, I have no idea. That's why I don't have it in here. Let's see, Ashley. I'm always getting Ashley and the other girl mixed up. I don't know why.
Ashanti.
Ashanti, they kind of resemble a little bit. Like I think their faces, this the facial shape, the shape of their face is similar. Um, Come on,
Mm.
guys. Elle said, you know, you know it all. Okay, so what was going on with Ashley that we can talk about? Who did Ashley have at her date? Elle said, come
Well,
in here. Let me drop the link for else.
well, if I can't recall anything significant, so it probably ain't even worth talking about.
Okay, all right. Ooh, wait, what she said? Ooh, what is Elsie talking about? Well, hey, I ain't mad at her. I would make sure not only is he that, but I would try to secure the whole lockdown of him because he is absolutely gorgeous. He seems very family oriented. He seems very he's definitely very successful. So all of that, like when you find all of that in one package, that's you maybe got to see that maybe once in your lifetime. I'm saying even for her, you may see it twice, but
Yeah. Well, he good luck to them, but you know, I would say that whole WAP uh thing
Oh,
that
that
she's
song.
about.
That
Yeah.
was well. That was a while ago. She was
No,
a
it
young.
wasn't. That
She was
wasn't.
a young
It's still
baby.
her.
Yes,
No,
it
it
was.
wasn't.
'Cause I was still doing Facebook back then, so
No, it wasn't.
I know it wasn't. I didn't even know what it stood for. And
No, it
somebody
wasn't.
much younger had to tell me what WAP stood. Come
Yeah.
on, WAP.
She's still the poster child for that. So no, I don't
What are
know.
you
I don't
saying?
know if it
You're not allowing her. Hold on. You're not allowing her to have a public persona, which is the celebrity part, and then what I said about having that homebody, that person that is actually for that intimate person that you actually know, because that's like Beyonce and Sasha Fierce. Like Beyonce is not always Sasha Fierce.
it's not. Sasha Fierce ain't talking about what WAP stands for.
Yes, it's a lot. That when I heard what it stood for, I was like, that's a lot.
Right. So you can't justify her excuse that. She knows what she did. She wrote them lyrics. She performed the song many times, put it out. So it's still her. She made money from it, probably still continue to make money from it. She's a poster child for the movement.
Okay,
You
look,
know,
somebody said it was released in 2020. That's what I'm saying. That was a long time
yeah,
ago. She's changed since then. The girl is only 25, so if she wrote that at 20, you mean to tell me you're the same person? You feel like you're the same person when you were 20 as you are now, or 5 years later when you were 25? You're not the
I'm the
same
same
person,
dude that I was 5 years ago.
but not the same dude you were at 20, though.
That was a long time. That's a much longer time
For
than
you
Megan
and
Thee
me,
Stallion.
yes.
Yeah,
But
exactly. So it's not a fair comparison. But 5 years ago, I was the same person. And I'm not saying that she has to be, but what I'm saying is if I'm Clay Thompson and my girl put that out, and I would I'll be making business decisions rather than decisions based on my lines.
oh boy, you know what? You're just not gonna be nice today, are you? You just determined not to be nice. I don't know
No, it
why.
was nice. I put it very succinctly. I put it very nice.
Felicia got you. She got your number. JR doesn't forgive easily, Aubrey. No, he doesn't. What? I mean, don't listen to the song if you don't like it. That's like when Beyonce came out with what was it, Dangerously in Love and something like that, and people were saying, look at how she's dancing with her husband and this, that, and the third. Like, get over it. The lady's married, okay? She can dance however she wants with her husband.
Yeah, but she's been with Jay-Z for many years since she was a teen.
Right,
And she was
that's what I'm saying. But
right,
people were so
right.
upset about when she did that song, "Dangerously in Love," and some other stuff that she did.
Really?
I'm using this as a comparison with what you're saying about Meg
With
The
WAP.
Stallion.
With WAP. It's not a fair comparison. WAP is an
Well,
extremely explicit song. So
it
Beyonce
is. It
is
absolutely is.
successful because she's able to cross over into commercial markets without using those type of sultry lyrics like that. But at the end of the day,
Okay, well
um,
now Elle said, I guess she put it in perspective for us both. She says, "I would not want a man rapping about his, you know what."
exactly.
Okay,
You wouldn't want
what
your man to be known for that.
so, Elsie, have we not all lived? Let me tell you something. The best thing about my life right now, as I sit here as an elder, okay, the best thing about my life is that the days when I was modeling and when I was traveling the country doing the auto show and doing all kinds of things, is that we didn't have social media. We didn't have like literally cameras and videotape in our phone, right? So, like, that's one of the best things I can say about my life. I lived my life when I was young. So, I don't have a problem with somebody exploring their sexuality or talking about this. She's making money, and it's 5 years later, and she now has a serious relationship.
Right.
What's the problem with it? What is the problem? Why can't people grow, JR?
Of course they can. But again, there's nothing to give forgiveness for. It's who she is. She's not repenting about putting that song out. She's quite happy. She made the money from it. And like I said, she's proud of that. And me personally, I wouldn't want my girl being known for how wet she can get.
You say that now on the public podcast, but back in the bedroom, you might care.
No, I don't want other people knowing how wet my girl can get.
Oh, you don't
I
want
don't
the
want to
other
think about
people.
that.
No, you don't want the other people to know. But what I'm saying is, you. Never mind. What up here? How do we end up here? Let's move forward.
You get you keep trying to defend WAP. I'm like, Aubrey,
Trying
stop
to say
defending it.
that Megan seems happy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to defend it, but I
She,
am
she
saying
is happy.
he
She
seems
struck it.
happy. He
She struck
seems
it rich.
happy.
She struck it lucky. She ended up with at the
Okay.
moment anyway.
Well, look at it this way. Could it be? And I'm not talking about the song WAP, but could it be that she found her Russell to Sierra? Okay. Could it be?
Yeah, that could
He
very
found
well
her.
be it. It could very well be it. She found a nice guy, nerdy guy, not known for being out there, not known for having confidence.
This is what
In
I
fact,
love about him, and he's so damn fine. On top
in
of it,
fact, in fact, Clay Thompson is a 4-time champion.
really.
Uh, he
Who
was
does he play for? Is he in Dallas?
now he is, which is what led them to meet. But he was at
Really?
Golden State. He was a 4-time
Oh,
champion at Golden State. He lost
okay.
all confidence in his shooting ability, which is what won them the championships. His ability to catch and shoot.
hmm
But when he lost the confidence in himself, he went through periods where he couldn't find the basket. He couldn't score. So the team reluctantly decided to trade him because he was no longer confident and hitting those shots in those crucial games. So in Dallas, he managed to get a fresh start, and he's been very patchy, but he has found love. So all the best to them. I hope it does work. But
Yes, yes.
again,
Let's
she struck it rich. She struck it lucky. Like she's met a guy who's, like you said, over 6 foot, he's 6'5" or something like that.
got more than six
Def-
figure income. Definitely more than.
exactly, exactly.
Add a couple of more zeros onto that.
Right, exactly. And he's a 4-time NBA champion. He's pretty much a household name. And he's known as a squeaky clean kind of guy. You don't hear him get into any controversy or
I
fights
love
or crazy
I
stuff. So
love that for her.
she
I
hit the
love that
jackpot.
for her. I love that for him. Yes,
Right.
indeed. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. Okay, so the next date, since apparently we're not gonna talk about what you call this date. Sorry, Ashley. We'll catch up with you next time. Okay. But we're gonna talk about this lady right here. We're gonna talk about Donna. Donna, I don't know what Donna like. It was like she got to a new stylist or something. She went sexy. She got you see this cutout she's wearing here? You can see the girls are, you know, all prim and proper there, and they're standing at attention. They're nice and yeah. Anyway, so she's having meet her. She has Steven, of course. Remember they did the hot yoga together. But who I think her number one connection, I believe, is she's got Vince.
He's clearly
And
tall, looking at this picture. Go ahead.
exactly. Oh, yeah, clearly tall. Okay, I see your point. You're so silly. And then, oh wait a minute, no. And then Cardi. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I moved too far ahead. Wait a minute. Wait. What did she have? What did she have? So she had Vince and she had what's his name? Steven. Okay. So anyway, they sit down to talk and they're having a good time. What did you think about their date? What did you think stood out about Donna's date with Steve and with Vince?
Apart from the stuff that you pointed out already with 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 Donna, um, yeah, I think this is a bit of a tough one for me because I could see Donna and Steven working. I think Donna and Steven look visually like they could work. I don't know how much chemistry there is between them though. But
Ah,
I do think that her being an army mathematician or statistician or whatever she is, and him being in the education field as well, that's not saying it's nerdy, but there is some type of commonality there. And
yes.
plus, visually, they look like they could work.
They look cute.
And
They really
and also, I think their minds could be quite similar. They might have analytical minds in the way they approach things. There may be some similarity there. With Vince, she mainly said that it's their sense of humor that they have in common. And
Mm.
I don't know, because Vince is a bit more ready to. Well, he's not a bit more. He's a lot more spring loaded and ready to fire back if you try and sun him or diminish him in some type of way. He's very reactive, and I'm not sure if that's a good recipe for a relationship with, you know. So I think Donna and Steven uh, potentially could work.
Mm. It's funny you say that because in the chat they're saying that Donna's friends think that Steven is a better match too.
Mhm.
Uh, could it be? Could it be that Vince is just? What do you think? What do you think? Do you find him to be argumentative? What we've seen of him this season. I'm not just talking about just this episode, but what we've seen of him overall this season. Do you feel like Vince is maybe a little bit argumentative?
Mm, I think he likes to set the record straight. I think he's very straight talking.
Okay.
And I also think, like I said, I think he's on very high alert for anyone that tries to sun him or take shots at him in any way. He's quite ready to nip that in the bud, so no false narratives are created, and he doesn't mind speaking to you very slowly and clearly to make you feel silly if you try and test him like that. So, now that we know this about Vince, it would be very silly to keep trying to prod and provoke him, unless you want him off the show, obviously. But
Ah, okay.
he seems like he can be very condescending, and you know, even if you are trying to provoke him, you won't like the response that you get from him. So I think yes, there is an element of loving to debate and clear things up. But at the same time, I'm not going to entirely knock him for that because nobody wants a false narrative created by or anything they've said being misconstrued. Donna, remember, had to
Mhm.
clear up a few things about her faith and her religion because she didn't like the fact that Ed thought she was not spiritual or not religious or she was an atheist. And she went to clear that up, right?
Right.
Also, Donna has gone to Darius straight away and said, "I think you're a player and you're full of BS and da 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 da." So she's been outspoken. She wanted to make sure she was clear in how she stood. Nobody necessarily said she was argumentative, but
Hmm.
Vince is not someone that, I don't think he wastes time with small talk. I think he also takes things very literally as well.
Yes. Now you're hitting on something. I agree with you. I do that sometimes to my detriment. That could be some sign of neurodivergence. I'm not saying he is. I know I am. So there's that.
I don't
Uh,
think he's that. I don't think, I'm
no,
not
I
a,
don't think he is necessarily either.
nah. He just
But
likes to be right and make sure you don't have any misunderstandings about
okay.
what he said.
Yes, I feel like that's true what you're saying, but I also feel like that in itself could be a little annoying because it gives signs possibly of you don't trust other people with the information that you've already given them. If you're just having to repeat it again and clarify and sort it out, or that, like you said, that you're taking something very literally what they're saying and they're either joking with you or they're not meaning it in that exact way. It's like I can't really put it. It's hard for me to put it into words, but I feel like it's part of this great debate right now that seems to be brewing amongst the dating sector, the younger people that are dating. This whole thing about, are men inherently bad or are women inherently bad? And there's a sect of people that are men that feel like women are inherently bad, and then there's a sect of women that feel like men are inherently bad. And I'm like trying to figure out, well, why are you guys even dating each other if you're going to feel like a person is inherently bad without getting to know them? That's problematic to me.
Of course, people cast judgment all the time,
Yes,
right?
we do.
But
Yes, people.
it's natural to do it to some degree.
Yes.
But I think what happens is, particularly with Vince, is he does not want anyone to take something he said and it's not correct. So when he said the B word, for example, in that pillow talk, whoever leaked that to the ladies, like he owned up to it and said, "Yeah, I did say it. I apologize. This, that, the other." He was probably surprised that it came out, but he took accountability, right?
Hmm.
Now, so I think he's not afraid to own up to things he says or the way he is. But again, if you noticed this about him already, it doesn't make sense to try and nitpick and nag on him because he will try and set you straight and you will not like being corrected. A lot of people don't like being corrected, even when they are wrong and they know they're doing wrong. They don't want to be corrected about it. But he will correct you and make sure that you understand clearly what he's saying. So that's why I don't think he's palatable to a lot of ladies, especially early on. You know, Ashante and him caught up, and uh, you know, it didn't go down too well because he said, "No, let me tell you exactly what I said." And now, is that what you heard? You know, and that was very condescending, very condescending. So we know what type of guy Vince is. He's a no nonsense, very literal guy. And he stands out from the rest of them because it seems like the rest of them can take a joke. His jokes don't always land. Um, but the other guys are more laid back and more chilled. He's much more ready to snap back. Not in a hostile way, but to correct you. Yeah. Okay. So I just noticed something.
What's that?
Donna is wearing little shorts with this
Yeah.
outfit.
Oh, yeah. Are
Oh
you
my
just not
goodness.
noticing
What
that?
is it? So it
You're
must have been
looking just
summer
like
over there. Because
what?
how you wearing a blazer with nothing underneath, and then you've got these little
Nothing.
dinky,
Look short.
skimpy
You
shorts.
see Vince? Do you see Vince? Looks like he's looking down, checking all of that out. He's
Oh,
checking out.
now see, now you're trying to use his height against him. Look at
I'm,
that.
well, I'm just saying. And I'm not mad at him. I'm a woman. If I see a man, if I saw Clay Thompson in person, I'd be checking him out too. Okay.
No, no, no. Look at you trying to use Vince's height against him now. Just because he's tall and he's looking down at Donna, you think he's looking at boobies.
Oh,
See?
he's definitely looking at her legs, her thighs, and her
Well,
booty.
listen, if she didn't want no one looking, she could always have covered up. She
No,
could have worn something.
she wanted the attention. I feel like in this
Yeah, you
particular
don't.
date this week, she wanted the attention.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that she would wait this far into the season, though. Like,
No, you don't forget to put your top on and come out on a date to meet two or three guys. I'm sorry. Not on purpose. And on TV as well.
thanks for
Right.
all the great chat. I got to go back because I'm catching some things and I want to go back and address them. So, first of all, I'm going to start here. Um, Says that Donna wants marriage and kids, but Vince has no interest in either. Well, Miss Wilson, you realize he does already have two kids, but you're saying any more. Maybe that's what you mean. He doesn't has interest in either a marriage again or any more children, I guess. How do you feel about that statement, JR? Do you agree or disagree that Vince is definitely not interested in marriage and any more children?
Nah, he said he wants to get to know the person first before and like before he even gets to the marriage conversation, he wants to get to know them first. Um, in terms of having kids, he has two already, so yeah, I don't necessarily think he wants to jump into that either. And Donna's timeline for moving in with someone being 3 months or something like that, 3 to 6 months. That's
Yeah.
very early. That's quite soon. But I can see why. You know, she
Well,
she don't want to waste no time. If
right.
she thinks there's a spark, if she thinks there's chemistry, okay, let's do it. That's what I'm kind of picking up from her.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, here's what happens though, women. And I was watching something. Another one of my favorite YouTubers, Janice Hilton, was talking about um, our young women today that are going to see their doctors on a regular basis, annually or whenever there's needed, additional needs to see the doctor, particularly your OBGYN. Are they or the older women in your family, your aunts, your mothers, and your girlfriends, are they talking to you about the fact that even though you're thriving, you got the career, you got the education and the degrees and all this and yada yada yada. You got the house, you got everything, except the man and the child. The fact of the matter is that as you get into your 30s and you get near 35, and then you get to the next hump of, like, let's say 40, that if you were really serious thinking about you want to have children, if you want to get married, these are really the prime years, I would say, between 30 and 40 to do that, to have to get married, maybe by 30, 33, 34, 35, and to have start having the children, because you get over 40, and not saying, because I know there are plenty of women, and I know some myself, that have children after 40, some even after 45, some even after 50. But the idea that you're not really thinking about this, but you're planning everything else out except for your actual family, those of us that want to have one, is kind of crazy, because we don't have the luxury that men have, that they can wait till they're 50 or 49 or 50 or 60, or if you want to be Robert De Niro and wait till you're 80 to have more children, have a little toddler running around when you're 80 something, and the toddler's two, like what? But anyway, but we don't have that luxury. So I was just wondering that, if you thought about that Vince has no interest in either of these things, JR.
Yeah, well, he probably doesn't. Again, men and women are different. And if Donna's timescale is to get things done sooner rather than later, then Vince isn't a match. And Steven is available. So he doesn't have kids. Yeah, Steven doesn't have kids and he would like to have them. So maybe she should make sure she expends some energy in trying to get to know Steven a bit better instead of Vince.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was you even said they look pretty good together too, her and Steven.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Okay, then my next thing that I wanted to ask about, because this is very interesting. Now, where's my board here? Why is it acting up? Thanks, guys. Again, you guys are doing some really good comments. So Jaguar, Mr. Jaguar, okay, says that this is a modern woman's issue, that when a man doesn't back down to a woman, women translate that as he likes to argue slash debate.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
I I don't see it that way. I think that for all people, and I do understand, Jaguar, where you're coming from, and to some degree, there are women that go with that whole sassy, zesty debate.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Here really is a thing. If we're sitting around talking about, like, the question about how tall I am or he is, right? And the guy is saying he's 6'2", and he tells me that, he tells my friends that, and then they say, "But are you really?" Now, to be fair too, the friends, Lauren's friends, Lauren didn't like that her friends ended up. She was very embarrassed, she says in her confessional after the fact, right? So I'm not really sure if she just didn't want to embarrass them, or she felt like that was their job as part of production to hype up the whole situation about height. But no, there really is a thing where at a point in any conversation where you keep going on and on to be the right thinker, and like you pointed out, that one of the things about Vince is that he's a right thinker. I think actually that's an issue. That becomes an issue for a lot of people. Not everybody, because some people are just going to ignore you anyway about that. But if you're a right thinker and you're going to go back and forth with all the debate, whether you're male or female, that gets a little bit ridiculous. It gets a little bit ridiculous. And
But
it's
it's
just
some-
it's almost like it's a power thing. It's not even about what the actual topic is. It's like it's a power struggle. Like you're trying to say that this is what it is, and because it's this way for you, that it must be this way for everybody. That's annoying.
yeah, but there is a power struggle. It's definitely a power struggle because some people like to get the last word, right? And
Right.
whoever gets the last word has the upper hand. But
And then also in modern dating too, right?
yeah, of course. But you know, it's very polarizing out there these days in the dating world, right? From what you don't have to look too far to see how polarizing it is. A lot of people get triggered over things that probably 10 years ago no one would care about. People are
Yeah.
much more sensitive. But I'll give you an example. During that whole conversation with Vince and his height, right?
hmm
One of the ladies said, "So is that a man 6'2", or is that just 6'2"?" So when
Yeah,
she
she
said
did.
that, that's
Yeah.
a way to emasculate. So what? If he's not
Oh.
6'2", he's not a man. So again, the
I think.
argument the argument just got out of control because no one wanted to actually end the conversation at what his original answer was. They wanted him to expound on it, and then you just spent a whole date just ruining the whole vibe, talking about whether he's 6'2" or not, and he clearly said he is. So it just came down to who wants the last word, and just got silly. And that's what will continue to happen. If you keep trying to have conversation with people and your objective is to get the last word rather than to just be correct or reset the temperature of the conversation, then you're going to be battling back and forth, often for no reason, like pointless. You're just going to get on each other's nerves, and the relationship's not going to work because you can't communicate properly. So it's happening more and more. People just want to get a word in edgeways, and if they don't get a word in edgeways, then you're stifling the conversation. You're stopping them from sharing whatever they want to get off or what they're holding, and it can just spiral, like decline from there. So I think people need to respect each other's point of views a lot more. And if someone gives you an answer, whether you like it or not, it's an answer. Yeah, if they don't want to expound on it, then they don't have to. They don't owe you nothing. You don't, like, if he don't know you, doesn't have any obligation to keep the conversation going with you that he doesn't want to participate in. But like I said, Vince is the type of guy who will, in his own way of doing it. Why are you trying to ask that question? Where is this leading? What has that got to do with the slice of bread? Like, where are we going with this? Why does my height mean anything to you? And that is seen as combative or argumentative. And that's his MO. Everybody knows that this is what he does. Yeah.
And it's so funny too. So Latasha Edwards is saying that she agrees we love for men to be agreeable. I think that's people. I mean, I'm sorry, I could be at work and somebody is telling me about this movie or this Meg the Stallion and her WAP song or whatever. And if I don't agree with them, they may not speak to me for the rest of the year. This is how serious this is. People, I think JR is onto something when he said that people now are much more easily offended in this generation we're living in currently, right? People get so offended about the least little thing. If you're not the same this as they are or that as they are, then they don't want to be bothered with you anymore. But I want to go back to this, because this is a very good, very, very, very profound comments that you're making, Jaguar, Mr. Jaguar. Donna and Shannon are rushing the men because they focused on their careers and studies, and now their biological clock is ticking loudly. If you notice, both group of friends talked about timeliness. That, my friend, I'm sorry, timeline. That, my friend, is so true. And that's what I was just saying about why I don't understand why this current generation of the late 20s and 30 something women that say that eventually they want to get married and have children, why they're not focusing and on more than one thing at a time. Because a lot of times dating and marriage, it can be a long journey between you're dating this one, you're dating that one. And hopefully, ladies, you're not out there dating 3-4 years to the guy that hasn't proposed to you. You don't like him. He's never taken you to meet his family. All of these non-committal issues and red flags. And you're still dating this person 4 years later. And now you're mid-30s. And then another 4 years, now you're late 30s. Like, you're right. Timelines are important. What do you think about this statement that Mr. Jaguar has put out about the timelines and the woman's biological clock ticking? Is he right about what he's saying? That now the women are seem to be rushing the men along?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty clear because if you're studying to be get your degrees and double masters and all these different qualifications,
Takes time.
Exactly. Takes time. And then if you're focused on your studies, you're not too interested in dating for marriage and family. So by the time you finish your studies, and then you've got your first couple paychecks, and you've got your house, and then you've got your car and everything, and you look around, and you're like, wait a minute, it's still cold at night. I've got no one to protect me. I've got no one to hug up with and snuggle up with. I've got no one to be with. So then you start saying, okay, well, maybe I should hit the dating market. And now you're going to focus on dating when times have changed. The guys that were probably checking for you in your 20s,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now in your 30s, they probably locked down or not as interested anymore. You know, so you now you're having to play catch up.
Okay. Okay. I felt like you were kind of coming from this place, but I'm gonna put it up here because you have the right. Uh, it's the playbook that Kevin Samuel details. Shame, insults, and guilt need to be right. They want to tell you something, and you just fold like Cardi did. But if you stand on business like Vince, you like to argue.
Mm.
Okay. 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 I see. Like I say, I feel like that's kind of where you're coming from. I think that's interesting. Very, very interesting. Uh, let's see.
It's
Uh,
true. In a lot of cases, it's easier just for the guy to say, "Okay, you're right," even when you know she's wrong. Just agree.
I
Just say,
think,
"Listen,
yeah.
you're right." I'll just leave it there.
Well, I think the thing of it is, what's the expression? You know, two people can be arguing and you both seem foolish, right? I think there's a point where, to me, this is my experience from my generation, which is not yours, obviously. Um, a man, a true man, knows when to stop. Because, like, for example, if we're debating and arguing over something, what is what is the energy there? Like, are we having fun? Like, there's sometimes when you're arguing about something, debating something, and you may believe what you're saying, but there's a part, maybe you're hyping it up a little more, he's hyping it up a little more, and you're just having fun with it. But if we are debating something like like, let's say the whole 6 foot thing, that's really silly, right? To me, that's really silly because Vince knows how tall he is. The ladies are
Exactly.
standing. He came in, he gave them hugs. They know how tall he is. So
Hmm.
now, which intelligent person, male or female or both, is gonna say, okay, this is silly. We went far enough with this. Okay, you're 6'2", whatever you say, I agree, or we can agree to disagree, right? But I think the whole thing of a man just sitting up having a debate about something, this is how he feels, this is his opinion, but he wants to make it a fact, then now you're telling me, now I'm getting the sense that maybe you're controlling, and maybe you do fall into that Kevin Samuels playbook of how women should be and how women are not valuable if they have children already, or if they're over 30, or if they don't have a 10-inch waist. So yeah, I think it's silly. Like, that's the person that I don't want to be with, because you're going to be miserable with that person that, like Vince, in some ways always has to be right. You've
Mm.
always got to be right. That, like El Cid said, that is going to be exhausting.
Mm. Yeah, and I agree, and I feel the same way about women actually. Like, I'm not gonna be with a quarrelsome woman. If she wants to
There you go.
argue,
That's the
if she
word,
wa- yeah,
quarrelsome.
if she wants to argue and get the last word every 5 minutes, or everything has to be a moment where she goes into a monologue about something, then
Yes.
that's gonna dampen the mood. It's gonna kill the vibe. It's gonna be like, whoa, why am I gonna want to talk to her? Because every single time she opens her mouth,
She's quarrelsome.
yeah, I don't want that. Sorry, I'm not interested in that. Like, there's much better things to talk about and do than argue. So I definitely see where you're coming from, and I agree. But I just look at it as you know, it's a role reversal. I'm not gonna be interested in having debates and arguments with a girl who is incessantly trying to do that. If make your point, I make my point, and that's it. Like, I'm not gonna make my point, and then you keep critiquing my point to try and prolong the argument.
Yes. Now I like this. Mr. Jaguar, we are on the same page on this one right here. I recommend both men and women watch the video Men's Brain, Women's Brain. It's very enlightening. And when a woman is asked to describe her ideal man, she can sometimes describe another woman, and
Mm-hmm.
we're not like that. I absolutely agree. Do you know
Good.
do you know cousin Janice Hilton here on YouTube? If you don't, go over and check out her channel. Um, I think that you have some very good points and very profound and interesting statements, and I really enjoy you here in the chat. I really do. Oh, wait a minute. Who said a El said we can hire a professional cuddler. Oh, I saw that. I forget where I saw that. El said, can you remind me where did I see that? There was a guy who was a professional cuddler, I believe.
Yeah, there's a few of those. There's a few women that do that here as well in the UK. Professional cuddler. Yeah. But there's also professional other work as well, other services as well. So you can hire those people.
Gigolo, maybe a gigolo or a
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta
Pros
finish
everywhere.
up. We gotta finish up this recap. We got a little ways more to go. We're almost there. Okay, so we've seen Donna. We've seen her um beautiful lady parts there. Um, but now we're gonna come to the date with our girl Dominique. And Dominique is has a very interesting group of friends. Her friends uh they were really rah rah for her. And this one here, oh no, going back, I'm sorry. Uh, the, it was actually Cardi who said, I knew her friends were coming for the jugular when I saw the way they had their jackets over their shoulders and their hands out, almost as if to get their Glock or something. I don't know, but apparently Devon did not get the message. He did not get the memo. What did you think? What did you think of this date with Devon, Bello, and Cardi? How do you think these men all interacted with her girlfriend, with her two girlfriends?
Well, this was Devon's humiliation ritual, and
Yes.
he got put on blast big time by Dominic. And I think this was a wake up call for him because, like he said, with professionals, he really didn't like the vibe that he was getting. It was
Right.
almost as if he was being targeted. So he was already uncomfortable when, as soon as Bello came in, he was already uncomfortable. You could see his energy shift.
Ah, because he knows that Bello is the true competition for him.
Exactly. So he shrank in that moment. He felt uncomfortable. And
Yeah, he
then,
did.
like, yeah, Dominique basically put him on the spot. And then the friends started to put him on the spot a little bit as well. Um, so her comment about, what is it? She said something like, uh, talk to me or love me out loud like you love me behind closed doors or something like that.
Yeah, in private. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Basically looking for him to, I don't know about beg, but pine for her openly,
Hmm.
right? And I think when he said, well, Cardi's sitting next to my girl over there, and that was his way of doing it, and it didn't land. Dominique was kind of looking at him with some disdain, like she don't even like this guy. And that to me just solidified that she's only flirting with him for the numbers. She's not really interested in him. She's interested in Bello. Cardi is probably some eye candy for her or his calm personality or whatever. But Devon, nah, she's not feeling Devon like that. And this was his wake up call that, this is not going to work. There's no way. There's no way he bounces back from this, I don't think. But the other guys seem to get kind of like a free pass. We already know that Dominique and Bello are the closest to being locked in so far. And Cardi's the type of guy who could just sit back and not really be pressed on anything. So he's easy going. But uh, Devon, he was hot under the collar, flustered, pretty frustrated, and it played out in this particular day.
Mm.
What did you think?
I have to agree. I think that it finally happened. Devon lost his footing after being having what appeared to be, to me, and it seemed like several other reviewers, as well as particularly Ron Freeman that's here on this channel oftentimes, he got overinflated and he got kind of a little careless with this whole thing with Dom. Like he fell for it, right? Dominique started flirting with him when she was in that second mixer of the people that were on the lower end, and she was shocked that she could be in the bottom, right? So she started this flirting game with him. And remember when she got so close to him that they almost kissed?
Well, he leaned in for the kiss and was rejected.
He leaned
Yeah.
into the kiss, right? Because she was leaning into him. And
She
so that's why I
picking
say,
something up from his lip.
oh yeah, she was picking something off it. That's right. That's right. But all of it was a flirt. Let's be realistic. That was a
Mhm.
flirt because nobody touches nobody's lips unless you're the mother or the father of the child touching their lips, brushing, getting something off, or unless you are getting ready to try to make a romantic move or teasing them. That's why I said I believe that she was teasing him, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's so he kind of let those things go to his head all the while. If from 15 to 35, you know that basically the baddies have not really been checking for you from 15 to 35. Now, how all of a sudden you didn't just get drafted into the NBA or the NFL, and but now all of a sudden you got this baddie and she's hot on you, but yet you're on a dating show and there are other guys that are more uh equally yoked with her in other areas. I think that he took several missteps, and to your point earlier, who the person he should have been checking for, which was Shannon, I believe, who they have a lot more seem to have a lot more things in common, but he's looking over here at Dominique, who's used to dating NBA ball players and such. This is kind of a mismatch, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. And I think he didn't, I think he took it too literal about how she was flirting with him. I think he really read into that much more than there actually was. But that was her plan because she obviously needs the numbers to stay on and make it seem like she's open for connections as well.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I just think he read into it too much. And like you say, that could be down to some inexperience. It could be down to a few things. But I definitely get the sense that when he sees Bello and Dominique together, he does not like it. He did single out Cardi. He's like, look, Cardi's sitting next to my girl, but he really should be concerned about Bello because Bello looks like he's about to ride off into the sunset and help her to create businesses. And, they've actually talked about future plans together. Whereas with Levon, I'm not sure they've even had much of conversation outside of the flirting. So, and the other thing is, where she was saying, I want you to profess how you feel about me out loud. The only person she's really been professing that she feels anything for is Bello. I don't think I've ever heard her say anything about a future with Devon herself. So she knows that connection is not going anywhere.
Right. Right. I mean, like she said, she's saying that you say these things in private. I'm not sure exactly what things he's saying in private, but if he's saying them in private, do you feel like at this point he should be able to say them publicly in front of the other men?
No, because like I
No.
said, no, I don't think she's doing that to him. I think whatever he's saying is probably more like, just me and you, girl. One day we could ride off into the sunset and just purely hypotheticals. And I think she's just entertaining it, but she's not really feeling it. But again, it comes down to why would he claim you when you have two other guys up there that you're probably more connected with? Why should he come out and we see it time and time again. Some ladies want to be chosen
Mm-hmm.
and they want a guy to fight for them. And Devon is not that dude. He's not that dude. So she
Yeah.
got what she wanted, which was, she flirted with him. She's managed to stay on so far, relatively unscathed. Everybody talks about her grace and her aura and all that stuff. This time we saw a different side of Dominique, and it was one that looked like she doesn't like Devon like that. She firmly put him in his place and made it known that she's not really feeling it.
But to Mr. Jaguar's point, shouldn't Devon be standing on business if what men do, if who they are is who they say they are and how they move, then shouldn't he have stood on business if he was telling all these sweet nothings to her over the phone, you're my boo, hey girl, whatever, whatever, whatever little sweet nothings he was whispering in her ear in private, why doesn't he have the testicular fortitude to say it in front of the other men? See, that's the thing. One thing you'll find out about men is what they do around their boys and how they treat you when they're around their boys. That a lot of times will tell you how they really truly feel about you. Right?
Yeah, but it would be delusional for him to say that because the feelings aren't reciprocated. She ain't feeling him like that. So
But
it'd be
then why?
one sided.
No, no, no. But that's not the point of it, though. If how you feel about her, who's to say that he won't move her or sway her to his side with his convincing uh, uh, words of affection and affirmation publicly?
Because
Because
he shouldn't have to.
if Dominique likes to be touched in public, if she likes the PDAs that she made sure that she told Bello, and Bello said he doesn't like them, but she said, I do, and I need them. I'm not going to be in a relationship with a man that doesn't give me PDAs. So she's saying she also like public affirmations. So if you can't give that to her, but why are you giving it to her in private then? So that means you're just full of horse pucky, right?
No, because he tried to give her a PDA when he leaned in for the kiss and she rejected it. So she doesn't
Mm,
want PDA. She doesn't want PDA from Devon. She's
well,
accepting it from Bello because she likes Bello mutually,
yeah,
but
she does.
she doesn't like Devon.
I love what Miss Wilson points out because I've been wondering about this too. Because to me, I've been watching Bello on the dates with the other ladies, and I think that there's a younger lady that he may also have eyes for.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so Dominique may be thinking that that's a shoe in, and maybe it is. I could be totally wrong what I'm feeling and vibing and seeing, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe Bello doesn't pick Dominique. Then that would be a problematic.
Well, not necessarily because he's made it known that he wants to have a son. He wants to have another child. And she may not be able to give him that. And some of the other ladies may be able to give him that. But they don't. It's yet.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
But at the end
Well,
of the day,
mhm.
um, yeah, Devon has tried to give her PDA, tried to lean in for the kiss, and she rejected it. So, like I said, if she's feeling like with any girl, if she's feeling you, then you don't have to sway her. You don't have to persuade her. She's already feeling you. If you have to sway her, then it's a clear indication that she's not all in on you like that.
Mm. Well, at this point, the ladies did not make it back to the ladies' lounge to decide which two fellows would be part of the elimination pool, and we ultimately did not get who was eliminated. What are your thoughts about which two you think will be in the bottom for the men, and who do you think ultimately next week will be eliminated?
Well, I like to watch the trailers, and I was particularly looking for who was visible on the trailers. The two guys that aren't there are Cardi and Devon.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that those two end up on the chopping block. Um, and based on the performances this week, I would say Devon is going home, despite the fact that he thinks he has poor connections.
Mm-mm. Really? Really, you'll say it? Okay. Wow. Wait a minute. Hold on. How do I do this? Hold on. Are you coming up, Elsa?
Dominique cannot have children. Yeah. So Bello maybe may have his second connection as someone who's younger, who may be able to have children, but you know, um, we'll have to wait and see. Especially at the retreat, it'll be interesting to see who rooms together and who's left on the outside watching their connection mingle with someone else. So that's what we're about to see next week. Could get very contentious.
Oh wait, but we got a special guest. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hello, lady. What's going on? What you got to say about this scene? I would love to know. What do you have to say about this scene right here?
Hey, I wasn't coming up, but I'm heated about that scene. I'm sorry, but I have a completely, slightly skewed thought. The
Mm.
way Bello kept looking at Devon, I think Bello told Dominique, you need to check that young man. You need to check him and you need to check him hard because I'm tired of hearing him call you his boo in this men's lounge and you
Mhm.
know we together.
That's true.
Uh-oh, uh-oh,
That
uh-oh.
that is
Look,
true.
look at it.
Yeah, I see it. I see the look in his
That
eyes. It's like,
that is
yeah.
true. And even last week as well, when the
And,
guys were giving who their favorites were,
mm,
you could see Bello actually visibly move when he heard Devon talking about Dominique and that. So that could be
Exactly.
very true. Yeah.
Exactly. He visibly looked at what? You talking about
Mm,
my girl?
mm,
I'm telling you, this was Bello telling Dominique and Dominique checking Devon in front of him so he bears witness to her actually checking. Because it's always like, yeah, I told him we ain't about that I'm really with you. And he's like, well, I don't hear that from him in the men's lounge. So she's like, I got to check him in front of you
yeah.
for you to
It could,
believe me that I have been trying to ease him down the road.
mm.
yeah.
Oh, so that's what you're reading it as that this communication that's going on behind the scenes between Dom and between Bello, that she has been letting him know that she's easing away from Devon, or no?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, are you
Mhm.
kissing him too? That's why I don't want to give you no PDA because the way he talking is like he gum smacking you too. What's going on?
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. Oh, wow.
That's just my opinion, y'all. I don't know these people. I don't know the show. I have not seen any raw footage. I'm
That's a
just saying the way
very
they
valid point.
behaving.
Yeah. I
Very,
got a
very valid point. I would say
yeah.
that
That's a bad point.
um,
Actually. Yeah.
I think Dominique also wants to show Bello, listen, like there's no one close to you type thing. Like let me shut this guy down just to prove, just to, you know, solidify that she's into Bello.
Okay. Yeah, and that's probably why Cardi said, "I'm just gonna eat my food and stay out of it," because he looking down at this plate. He like, I ain't got no parts on this.
Yep,
He know
he
he
just
ain't got a chance in his granddaddy 3-piece suit. He knows it.
exactly.
Yeah, daddy 3 piece. Get out of
I'm
here.
I'm sorry. Look at I'm sorry. The suit is just a little bit too big for him,
It
you
is.
know,
It is.
but I that's how I when a young person dresses like that, I'm like, you're trying to look a little too old. Look a
Mm,
little too senior. But I'm sorry. That is just my take on this whole Dom Bello thing. I think it's a tag team.
Oh, okay. Tag.
mm,
You know what? I hadn't looked at it like that, but I will have to go back and rewatch this scene specifically because you may have a very good point, Elsie. You may.
yeah,
But keep in mind,
Oh, wait
Devin
a minute,
also
Jaguar.
De-
Now, Jaguar, don't make me have to hurt you now. I'm gonna let you come up on stage, but I don't know you from a can of paint. Does anybody know Jaguar, Mister Jaguar?
no, I only know him from the chat commenting.
Jaguar,
mm,
we got a good understanding. You want to tip into the private chat and say yes, we have a good understanding because what you okay? Let me let him up. I'm gonna be adventurous. Jaguar, you're gonna have to turn your you got do you have headsets because you got echo, you got feedback. Mr. Jaguar, hello. Hello.
Better?
Hey there. Nice to meet you, Mr. Jaguar.
Nice to meet you. Are you getting feedback still?
No, no, now it's perfectly fine. Now we want to know, we want to hear what it is that you have to say about this scene or some other scene in this week's episode, sir.
I was just gonna comment on the elimination. Just like what JR said, based on the trailers, it's most likely gonna be Cardi or Devon or double elimination. But I
Mhm.
think the person who is doing the editing needs to
Mhm.
be replaced because
Yes.
based on the trailers, I know a lot of things that happen. Like for example, when the double elimination happened, well, when the cliffhanger, quote unquote, happened with Christina and Donna, I knew it was Christina going home because the trailer, when Dario shouts at Vince and tells him to shut up, when the camera moved, I saw Donna. So it wasn't really a cliffhanger, I already knew. So
Mhm.
whoever's doing editing needs to step the game up or be replaced.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
That is interesting. What do you feel is going on? You talked about it out in the chat. I want you, if you could succinctly give us, please, your idea of what is going on with Devon. And you had a kind of a analogy or comparison with Steve Urkel. Did you want to share that with the rest of us?
Sure, no problem. I'm not sure how old the audience is if they don't know Family Matters. However, if you're black, because I'm not from America, I'm used to see Family Matters here. Steve Urkel is an icon. But if you remember, Steve Urkel is the default. He only became Stefan Urkel when he went to the machine, and that lasted for a little while. And then after a while, it would wear off and he'd go back to being Steve. So at the end of the day, Devon is a nerd. He's never had spark, he never had aura like that. The very first episode, when he showed up the first time, all the ladies were saying the same thing. He just looked funny, he looked like a dog, he didn't look, confident. Then the
Hmm.
second episode, he put on the suit and they said, "Oh, he looks different now," and he's feeling himself, but he can't maintain that aura forever. It's just a pretense to him. He's not
Mhm.
that guy. He's always going to be a socially awkward dork, and that's why he had to pay money to Christina. Because if you notice, when Christina begged those three guys, Chris said he didn't have it, which was a lie. He had it, he just wasn't going to give it to her random ass.
Mhm.
And Bella didn't even reply. So
Mhm.
the only person who gave her money was Devon because he had to pay to play because he doesn't have swag like that.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
agree with that.
Wow, that's very interesting. You got some very good points there. Okay,
I'll hop off. Let somebody else come on. Thank you so much for putting me on. Have a good night.
thank you, Mr. Jaguar. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you. Well, as said, what do you foresee, guys? We know we're coming up on the getaway next week. What do you foresee as being some of the trouble spots at the getaway, El Cid?
My toxic trait is I want Devon to be there so he can see Dom and Bello with their PDA.
Ooh, you are toxic for sure. You are
That
toxic.
is a retreat. I will pay money to see that.
I
Cardi
would
can
even
go home.
I would
Ooh,
even say, listen, they're lucky the placement was the way it is on this particular date. Because if Bello was sitting next to Dominique, there would have
yeah.
probably been some PD at the table, and that would have made Darius really, Devon really pissed, right, to see that. So because Bello and Dominique have already kissed, so if they were sitting next to each other and Cardi was sitting on the end, I think there'll definitely be some touchy feely going on.
But tell me this, what did Devon say any different than what Dom said on the X date last week?
Nothing. But the difference is, I guess she wants to leave out her friends, whereas last week it was his ex. So because these people are close to her, she wants, and she probably told them a lot about her connections, and probably referred to Devon as being quote unquote the simp. Yeah, he would drink my bathwater, that type of stuff.
Ooh, Lord
Uh,
have
so
mercy.
she wanted to make sure that she didn't look silly. Everything
Uh,
that she'd been telling them was true. This guy's pining for her and she's just not really interested. I think that's the image he
ah.
tried to create.
Now that has a ring of truth to it. What you're saying, Jr. That has a strong ring of truth to it. You reminded me of something my mother used to say about drinking the dirty bath water. Yeah, Yeah, some women, just like some men, get off on that, having the opposite sex chasing them around and idolizing them and putting them up on a pedestal. Some people really get off on that, and they do like to make fun of that person that is uh, putting them up on that pedestal with their friends, their
Mm.
besties. Yeah.
Yeah, the way Dominique's looking at Devon in this particular screenshot that you have, you can tell like she's looking at him like, well, come on then, say it with your chest, and that's that's when he shrank. He's like, man, I've got all eyes on me right now. I've got Bello staring at me, giving me, I wish he would say something. And then Dominique's like, come on then, man, tell me all them sweet nothings that you've been telling me over the phone. Come on, Devon. And he just felt like he needed to shut down. In fact, he even said he needs to, reset the conversation and things like that. So,
Right.
yeah,
And you
this
telling me
basically,
to whisper sweet nothings to you when your other man is there.
exactly, very
Mm.
uncomfortable situation.
Very, very. But I got one last thing I want us to talk about before we go off the air, because this has been bugging me. Miss Wilson makes a very good point. She says, I do not trust Bello. If he throws his young 1-year-old baby under the bus, then he is not loyal to no one. Now,
There's lots I
Bello
don't trust about Bello.
Bello sat up this week and said, and we forgot about this, but Bello sat up and said that he has actually seen, was it Lauren, more times than he's seen his own child. What kind of foolishness is that?
But he said that. He's seen all of them more than he's seen his own child. He said he saw his child
Twice.
twice.
Yeah, he's only seen the child twice. The
What
child is
is
not in the
he
same
do?
state.
What is he right? I understand the child lives out of state. We also know that we've got Ron Freeman who's here frequently, and his child lives out of state, and yet he sees his child. So
But
my
this
point.
child is one.
Yeah, okay, one. But the point is, the child is one. You've known that child has been here for almost a year at least. I know he had some paternity considerations there, okay? But you just met these people like what, 6 weeks ago? Are you kidding
But for a show he signed up, I'm not going to judge him too hard because we don't know the nature of seeing her twice. Did he go to Miami and spend a month each time? Did he spend a week each time? I need more details before I kind of string him up.
I need more details, and I'm certainly not stringing them up, but I definitely feel what Miss Wilson is saying here, because if you've got a child, you know the child, let's say it took 6 months to bring up the paternity suit, do whatever, do the testing, get the results, which I'm sure it didn't. But let's say it did. Let's say it did. 6 months compared to 6 weeks, and this child is your flesh and blood, and you're telling me you've seen these women more than you've seen your own child. What in the heck is going on?
Yeah, but he has, because he's been in this process with these particular ladies for around 3 weeks. So he's seen them almost daily for the last 3 weeks.
And
His
notice he
child.
said, mhm.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Elsie.
Notice he said, we don't have a very close connection, him and the baby mother. He didn't say one night stand. That's where I don't trust Bello. And I didn't trust him from Lauren. And I didn't trust him from Ashley. The nuance with Bello is ask me anything. I'm an open book. If you don't
Yeah.
ask the right question, he is not going to volunteer information. And if you don't ask the
Ah.
right question, you ain't going to hear about anything from him except foolishness. Blah,
He's
blah, blah.
he's not forthcoming. In other words, Elsie, which sounds like you're saying he's not forthcoming. Bello
He
isn't.
will give you the presentation of being forthcoming, but if you don't ask him the seriousness of, well, how long did you visit your daughter when you visited her those two times? He won't volunteer it.
Yeah, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ask questions. Like he
Yeah.
ain't supposed to just volunteer all the information by himself. He's supposed to ask questions to try and get to know him.
And Mr. Jaguar, I definitely agree with you. I didn't know he was from Canada, but hey, shout out to Canada there. Windsor is right, actually literally south of Detroit, but yeah. Um, it says that second of all, who knows, he wanted more access, but the baby's mother is fighting him. I'm not judging him until I know more details. Absolutely. I'm waiting to get more details, but I'm very suspect. And I think what Miss Wilson is pointing to is that if we can't trust them, and getting back to your point, Sid, about the one night stand, what happened to that? He said one night stand to Lauren, didn't he, on the boat? That's how this child
Right.
was
One night
Yeah,
created.
stand. Was
and
So
protection
he
used? Or you D'ing and dashing? What are we doing?
exactly,
exactly. And he
exactly.
also said that he wasn't notified about the child until it was pretty much here already.
Yeah.
So is it that we had other paternity tests that we had to go through before we were eliminated down to Bello? I mean, I have
Not
questions.
the Maury Povich of it all. Good Lord.
Hey, that's what it sounds like.
Oh my goodness. Maybe but since they said he says it was a one night stand, maybe they had not really given each other exchange information. Like, you know what I'm
Could
saying?
be. And she
She
had to
looked
wait till
good,
he
he looked
comes to Miami for his next dose before she found him.
good. Could be. Could be.
Mm.
I've heard of worse. But I'm just trying to understand. Here's the man that doesn't believe in PDAs, but you believe anyway. We don't know. We don't know. Um, Elsie, tell the people where they can find you.
I am Elsid932 on YouTube. You can find me there. I cover Ready to Love as well as I have two shows called Unscripted, where you, the audience, pick the topic we talk about, and Unsolicited Advice, where we give advice to the internet that they just ask the general population. And tonight, Monday, in a few minutes, is my Messy Member Monday, where we get into the thick of it all and it's adult conversation.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. And JR, tell the people where they can find you and what you're doing on your various social media pages, please.
Uh, you can find me on IG as JRXTV. You can find me on YouTube as Life is Reality, where I cover reality TV dating shows like Ready to Love, etc., etc. On Instagram, it's more fitness, well-being, health content, wealth content, things like that. More holistic approach to uh, balancing your life and stuff. Um, and then on TikTok, you may see some exotic locations, destinations, things like that. So that's also a part of what I enjoy doing with the travel and stuff. So yeah, check me out. Like the video, hype the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell for notifications. And you'll be notified every time we go live.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We'll be back, guys, at our regular scheduled time, which is Sunday afternoons or evenings at 6:30 p.m. and that's 11:30 UK time, guys. So we will see you then. Thank you for sticking around for this extra long video. We got a little talking about Megan the Stallion and Clay and some other stuff going on, but we always came back to Ready to Love. Okay. So we're going to shimmy and shake on out of here, and we will see you in the next video. Bye now.